Hi again, everybody. My name is Greg Anderson, and this is the Good Timekeeping Show with Greg Anderson. And take a look at this. It's the Geochron, the digital Geochron device, with a new perspective. Yeah, they've added zooming to the Geochron. So let me tell you about this one. Of course, if you're familiar with the Geochron, you're probably familiar with this view of the world. This is a world map showing the areas of the world that are most populated. So you don't see the extreme north or the extreme south there, but you see the places where you expect to find significant populations. And this shows you where it's the middle of the day, what part of the world is experiencing that kind of high noon part of the day, and also which parts of the world are experiencing daytime and nighttime in general. And you can see the terminator lines there showing where that line separating daytime from nighttime all over the world all at once. That's the beauty of the Geochron. Now, the digital Geochron allows a little bit more customization, a little bit more fun. And the folks there at Geochron have been working hard to offer a lot of features that are unique to things you can do when you have a digital presentation, things you can customize that would be a lot more difficult with a mechanical presentation of the Geochron. So if you have the Geochron Atlas 2, there's a new feature that was just introduced a few weeks ago, and that's a zooming feature. This is what some people have been requesting for a long time, and here it is. So there's just one thing. You have to be subscribed to one of the premium layers of the Geochron in order to make the zoom feature available. The Geochron premium features are available at a subscription, and these are services that they would like to include for free, but since it costs the folks at Geochron, it costs them to get the data that creates these different layers on the Geochron. So that's why they're kind of passing that cost onto you. And, there's things like the earthquake layer right there, and that's only $20 a year. You could subscribe to that. And then if you had that, then you would have the zoom feature added to your Geochron if you choose to have it. Ham radio premium bundle, very specialized for those that are into ham radios. A premium atmospheric layer. There's an International Space Station live Earth view and an energy grid layer. So you could subscribe to any of those or all of those if you wanted to. But with any one of those subscriptions, you would have zooming added to your Geochron. And if you're not interested in those premium layers, you don't have to subscribe. And if you're not interested in the zoom feature, you don't have to subscribe. The digital Geochron has plenty of functions and features without the subscription. But just to give you an idea, what I did was I subscribed to the earthquake layer, okay? And then because I had the earthquake layer available, now when I go here to the settings, I go to the general setting. And in this tab marked general, you've got maps and zooming. So I have my options here of choosing different maps, from the topographical view, the oceanic view, the ham radio view. Go back here to the human view map. So all those options still available. But if I go up here next to that says global, you can see it says zoom. And now I have the option of zooming in on the Continental USA, those 48 states. And I have a topographical view of that, or what looks more like a highway map there. And also I've got available views there similar in Europe. So a Europe topographical view and one that's more of a highway map for Europe. So let's take a quick look at the USA view of the zoomed in Geochron. And perhaps the first thing I should point out here is just how much the 4K resolution really shines with this zoomed in map. Now, I have a couple of large monitors in my house that are 4K, and I have another one that's just an HD monitor, 65-inch monitor. And the Geochron will look great on any of those larger monitors, but when it's in 4K, that's where you really see the details. So I'm just zooming in here on the Great Lakes region so you can see the great detail that is available on this map. And now if I switch to the map that is not the topographical map, that looks more like a highway map, this is where you really see the great details there, because you can zoom in And see, looking just there at my old stomping grounds in the Chicago area, you can see the names of all those cities all around the area. And yeah, it's fun to look at all of that and kind of zero in, especially if you have custom pins on your map, mapping out and showing the locations of all your friends and, you know, significant things around the map. It's really fun to see where those line up next to any major and significant cities and population centers. So, you know, there's Florida down there. Really, really cool view of Florida. Up here looking at the New England area, New York City, so you get to see all those details. It's really, I really like this map. And then, of course, as you zoom out to see the entire continental USA, it's just kind of fun to see that. Right now, it's a little bit of it's a very simple and plain, and you might even say boring view, because there's nothing really happening in here. Now, I could add the layers and see satellite tracking, and I could see weather layers, and I could see those sorts of things if I wanted to. The thing that always attracts me most to the Geochron is watching that terminator line as the map moves across that boundary between daylight and nighttime. So when that happens here in this zoomed view, it's a little bit different from what you're seeing in the full world map view. And right now, since the entire continental US, everything that's represented in this map is currently officially in daylight, it looks like nothing is happening. But here, probably in the next half an hour or so, we'll start to see that terminator line and the shadow appear in the lower right corner of this map, and then that will slowly creep across the map over the course of about 4 hours for this particular map. In kind of the standard world map view of the Geochron, you've got that timeline across the top of the map, which shows you the different time zones and then kind of the hours that correspond to the different time zones. And what you'll see is under that time band, the time zones kind of scroll across the screen, you know, once every 24 hours. So you'll see the time band stays in place, and the markers marking the time zones will move along with the map. However, in the zoomed view, the thing that happens is the time zone markers stay put and the map stays put, but that time band across the very top, that is what slowly moves across the display. And this is kind of fun to see. Yeah, again, a little bit different representation of how the passage of time looks in the zoomed view. Now, if I switch here to the zoomed view of Europe, right now everything is in the dark as I'm recording this. It's nighttime all throughout everything that's on this map. So maybe what I'll do is I'm just going to I'll change the settings here so that the night opacity is reduced to, say, 0. So this is what it would look like during the day for the European view. And for that other alternative map of the zoomed in European view, that would look something like, give it a second to refresh here. There you go. That's what that would look like there. So again, lots of detail in there. And if you look closely on a really good 4K monitor, you can see a lot of details, and it's just fun. You can, again, add layers for weather and cloud cover and all the other things that you would add, have the option to add layers. You can put all that in here and liven it up a little bit. But of course, to me, it's always more interesting when you see that terminator line moving across. There's an example of the detail you can see looking at Great Britain right there. Here you can see some of the details in the Italian area of the map. There are some details you can see in North Africa. And there are some of the details you can see in Spain and Portugal. So I really like these zoomed in maps. And once again, the way I unlocked that feature is I subscribed to this premium layer, the earthquake layer. So let me just show you how you can configure the earthquake layer. I'll go in here and click on the settings of the earthquake layer. And this also includes a volcano layer and the possibility of earthquake animation. So if I turn on the earthquake layer, I have some settings, some custom settings for that. I can see where the live earthquake activity, it's kind of fun. You can set opacity levels for earthquake events that have happened in the last 4 hours. You can have a different opacity for events that were a little bit longer ago than that. So 4 to 24 hours, 24 to 48 hours is a different setting, 48 hours to 5 days ago. And then again, you can also have a fault line map opacity. So you can see where there's been recent activity. As that activity becomes less recent, it starts to fade out, and you can watch those fault lines appear on the map. And this is where you can set those settings. So that's kind of fun. Now, if I go back here to the volcano layer, I have some things there. Again, I can show eruptions that have happened since 2020. And again, I can set different opacities for eruptions that have happened farther in the past, going back to the year 2000, then back all the way back to the year 1900, and then past eruptions going way back, thousands of years. So I've got those options to look at my volcano layer. And then earthquake animation, I can see different opacity settings for the last 5 earthquakes with a 6.0 or above magnitude, or a 4.0 to 5.9 magnitude. So it's just kind of fun to have those options in the earthquake layer. So how does that look on the map? Well, here I can see the big red dots there on the lower, kind of southwest area of the USA. That's where you can kind of see those fault lines. And then some of the yellow layers there, the little dots around showing where recent earthquake activity may have taken place. And then you see here on the right side of the map, it actually gives you a list of the last few earthquakes that were magnitude 4.0 and above, and kind of gives you the times and locations and magnitudes of all that earthquake activity from all over the world, not just the stuff that's on this particular map, but of course it's going to show all this stuff when I zoom it back out to the full world view. If I now change to the topographical view, it might be a little bit easier to spot some of the earthquake activity there with those dots. And another option I have, if I really want those dots to stand out, is I could go in here quickly and change to Grayscale Mode. And let's go back out there. And now you really get to see where all that earthquake activity, all those dots stand out. And again, the larger dots for higher magnitude earthquake activity. The dots that are starting to fade away, that's older earthquake activity. It's kind of fun to see that. Now I can go ahead and switch to the world view. And this is where I really get to see all those fault lines, or, kind of the borders between the tectonic plates, and get to see the magnitude earthquake stuff. So like here, I can really zoom into that area in Argentina where there was a recent 6.2. And it kind of shows me where that is, and, some other activity near that area. I can go up here to the Caribbean and see some stuff there, but the real high magnitude stuff looks like it's happening down south there. I guess that's kind of an unpopulated area, kind of off the coast of South America going east there. This one kind of east of Australia, you can see some recent high activity there. Here, Southeast Asia, you see some stuff there. And again, it's just fun to watch where all this activity is happening along those fault zones and stuff like that. So this is what the earthquake layer adds in addition to that zoom feature. Now, I told you that the zoom looks kind of boring when everything's in daylight already, or everything's in night already, and you don't see the terminator line moving. So what I did is I ran a time lapse yesterday so I could show you in time lapse what it would look like as the as that terminator line is going across North America from the east to the west, as we go from daylight to nighttime, encroaching across the entire continent. So that's what that looks like. You can imagine watching that over the course of hours, and it's kind of fun. Another thing is when you zoom in on satellite movement, that becomes much easier to see in real time, because on the world map, it might look like satellite movement is very, very slow, but on a zoomed in map, it might look much, much faster. So that's kind of a fun way to have more fun with the satellite tracking when you can watch it moving over a zoomed map. See what you're looking at right now. This is one of the NOAA weather satellites moving across Oklahoma from the south to the north. And this is not a sped up time-lapse image. This is exactly what it looks like in real time as it's being tracked on the Geochron zoomed in map. So that's fun to watch those satellites moving faster, just like this. And of course, all the other layers that you've come to enjoy on the Geochron, like here's a cloud cover layer and a precipitation layer I've added, those will appear on the zoomed in map. And it's kind of fun to watch how those weather systems are. I think this is one of the reasons that a zoom feature was such a big request for the folks at Geochron, because people wanted to see, they could see some weather patterns and stuff in the world view. But I know a lot of people thought, oh, it'd be great if you could zoom in and see, the precipitation and the cloud cover and some of those things in a zoomed in view. And so that's one of the great things about the zoomed in view is all those other layers are available to see. And again, back to my full wide world view with all that busy information right there. I'm going to eliminate some of this stuff and there, how's that? A little less cluttered. It's the fun thing about this. You can still set up different profiles. You can have a profile that's a very cluttered view, one that's a very clean view. You can just have these different custom profiles and have the Geochron scroll through all those different views as you please. And that's just a lot of fun for me. So again, these features, the zoom features, are available when you subscribe to a premium layer and when you have a Geochron Atlas 2 device. So just like with all the computer devices, and smartphones and things like that, some of the more advanced features, the software, is available for the more advanced hardware. So if you have the Geochron Atlas 1, you won't have zooming available for that. Some of the premium features are just not available for the Atlas 1. But if you have the Atlas 2, then you have the option of subscribing to all of those premium layers or whichever ones you want, and plus having the zoom. So that's just something to keep in mind. Again, it costs a little bit more, and I completely understand how it works at Geochron. They would love to offer as many features and layers and everything as they can for free if they could. But the truth is, it costs them to develop the software, to get the data that's being put onto these maps with those premium features. So they're going to have to charge a little bit for those premium features. But again, it's still a beautiful timepiece, a wonderful timepiece, and I would say right up there at the top of my list of favorite timepieces, even if you don't have the subscription layer, even if you don't have that beautiful zoom map that you can play with from time to time. I love the Geochron. If you're interested, just go to geochron.com, look into it. They often offer specials, like maybe if you sign up for their newsletter, they might give you a discount code that you can use. Usually if they do that, there's a time limit on when you can use that discount code. So, be careful when you're ready to go, then you can sign up for the newsletter and look for those deals. They have had special deals around Black Friday. I don't know. And I don't know what their plans are. I'm not that well connected to Geochron, but I know the folks there are good people, nice people. I've met Patrick from Geochron. In fact, he has been in this very room where I'm recording this right now. Great guy. So if you like the product, if you're interested, look into it, watch some videos about it, including my videos. You can watch other people's videos. I don't care. And enjoy the Geochron. It is just one of my all-time favorite timepieces. I must say, my kids love it. They love to play with it. My kids know so much about how all of this stuff works. They know about geology. They know about astronomy. They know about the change of seasons, time zones. They know and understand all of this stuff because of the Geochron. It's so cool. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that because that's a new thing, and I will continue to give you some more thoughts and updates on the Geochron as they continue to develop the product. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you will enjoy more episodes. Keep coming back to this channel and look for more episodes of The Good Timekeeping Show.